Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Cheyenne Malone, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Cheyenne Malone. Well, whether it's a sales pitch or just even a casual conversation, personal connections are so powerful when you're trying to persuade, right? Joining me now to dive into this, Baer, Hall of Fame keynote speaker, entrepreneur, business growth and customer experience advisor, and so much more. Also an author. Thanks for joining us today, Jay. Glad to have you again.
Always a pleasure. Great to see you.
Yes. Can you talk to us and kind of elaborate on why personal connections are so powerful, especially when it comes to persuasion?
You know, it actually goes back to my very first career, which you didn't mention, because I don't even know if you know this. My very first career was in politics. Oh. I was a political campaign consultant, and I was a direct mail specialist, most notably from the former U.S. Senator John McCain. So I did all of his direct mail work. And so I grew up as an early professional, sort of learning the lessons of politics. And one of the things that they really taught me in those days is that anytime you're making a statement, you have to tie it back to what's in it for the recipient, what's in it for the listener, what's in it for the reader. Because so often in business and in life, we say something like, this is good, or you should do this, etc. And we just let it lie there as if that answers all the questions or tells the entire story, and it doesn't. You have to say, here's the statement, and then here's why this matters to you. That second part is so incredibly crucial, but it gets left out so often.
Yes, the why. I think that's so important. When you want to get people to act on something, obviously knowing that why portion is important, what kind of drives them to the result you want?
You would hope that it is some sort of sense of duty or societal obligation, or let's do it because it's for the good of the team or the good of the community or the good of the world. But much data has been expended on this point, and most people do not act in the interest of the greater good very often. They act in interest of their own good. And look, that's human nature. I'm not saying that everybody's selfish out there, but I think we can probably agree that most people act based on their own self-interest. And so you have to tie it back to what's in it for them personally. And I'll tell you the example that I saw recently, just in the wild, and I documented it in my newsletter, the Baer Facts. I fly every week to give presentations at some conference or another, and I was on a United flight out to San Francisco, and I went to the restroom, which is in and of itself unusual because I pride myself on not ever using airplane restrooms. Like, I'm window seat all the way, and I will hold it across the Atlantic. But this is just one of those deals. I was like, I got to do it. So I go to the restroom, and I open the lid, and it says it has like a do not do this, like don't put paper into the toilet, right? And it says trash it, don't flush it. I'm like, okay, like yes, but then here's the key. It says underneath that, clogged toilets delay flights.
Ooh.
Clogged toilets delay flights. Like, just telling me, hey, put it in the trash, not the toilet. I'm like, yeah. But I'm like, wait, delayed flights? I don't want my flight to be delayed. I've got to make a connection. So all of a sudden, with just a 4-word secondary clause, they've made the entire scenario about me, not about the plane, not about the airline, not about everybody else. And it was such a beautifully simple piece of communication. And it really does, I think, demonstrate the power of when you're trying to persuade, you've got to make it personal.
Absolutely. I feel that, right? You go from the greater good of all to like pinpointing just you and what your agenda is. You need to get to the next destination. So what are some common barriers in persuasion that, maybe it keeps people from being persuasive?
I think a lot of times they haven't fully thought through that second piece, right? They haven't really done the mental gymnastics to say, when I used to own my consulting firm, we had a rule in the business, which was anytime we ask a client to do something, we have to add the and therefore clause. Right? Now, we might not necessarily say it as and therefore, but it's, you have to say, if you do this, here's what's going to happen. Here's why this matters. Why is this important? And in a lot of cases, people just haven't thought that through. They're like, well, of course you shouldn't put this in the toilet of the plane but they've never actually said, well, then why? But why does that matter at the individual human level? So that's the first mistake that people make, is they just haven't actually thought through the rest of the sentence.
That makes sense. Any final thoughts for us on this topic, Jay?
In every time you either consume or create a statement that requests a behavior change, never publish that unless there is that second piece to it. And you can actually work it backwards, right? You know you've done it right if you can flip the whole sentence upside down, right? And it says, clogged toilets delay flights, therefore don't put this in the toilet, put it in the trash, right? If you can take it and turn it upside down and it still makes sense, then you know you've got it right, and you know it will appeal on a personal, human, emotional, and powerful level.
I was going to say, it seems more impactful and powerful at that. Awesome. Well, this was certainly insightful, Jay Baer. Hall of Fame keynote speaker, entrepreneur, business growth and customer experience advisor. Thanks so much, Jay. I appreciate your time today.
Always a pleasure. Hey, look in those airplane bathrooms. You find all kinds of business inspiration.
I'm going to have my eyes peeled for everything, and I'm going to bring it. That's my homework, right? I'm going to bring them back to you and tell you, was this good or was it not?
Please do.
Thanks so much. And thanks to all of you for watching.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Cheyenne Malone, exclusively on ASBN.com.